I can't believe we are already at the end of January. I mean, 2022 just started. I guess time really flies. Anyway, we are still going strong with the winters, and I thought it's time we learned a few words related to winters. You know, winters is actually considered the festive season of the year, and it very well deserves to be. There are so many festivals like Christmas, Diwali, the Kite Festival, and so many others that these cold months bring. We get so many big sales happening, to celebrate this festival season. There are so many words that you can use to describe these cold months, but today we will talk about some very specific words that you might already have heard. You know, when the colder months are just starting out, when it's getting a little uncomfortable, you can say it's getting a bit chilly. But with time, it gets even colder. You can say that it's bitter cold or biting cold, to express the harsh winters. It's cool, crisp, brisk, bleak, frigid, or frosty. These are all words you can use to describe harsh winters. There's a time when the weather becomes so cold, frost starts forming. It gets really, really cold. Frost is actually the deposit of ice crystals on ground or other surfaces when the temperature is below freezing. It's very cruel and severe, just like in the North Pole and the South Pole. Okay, maybe not that much, but By the way, there's often a confusion between the North Pole and the South Pole. Let's clear that once and for all. We all know that the area around both the poles is extremely cold. The North Pole is called the Arctic and the South Pole is called the Antarctic. Of course, both of these are situated opposite to each other. The Arctic is actually an ocean surrounded by land, and the Antarctic is actually land surrounded by ocean. Now, this is not something that I already knew, so I had to Google it up. But the one information that I did know is actually the most important of all of these, and that is polar bears live in the Arctic and the penguins live in the Antarctic. Of course, because they have to be surrounded by ocean so that they can have enough fish. This is something that people often confuse with, and I hope after watching this video you never forget this fact again. Okay, so now let's move on with our video. You know the winds, the strong winds that make noise, it's called a bluster. Also, sometimes in the winters there is snowfall, usually in the sub-zero temperature, basically the freezing temperature, temperature below 0 degree. And when it comes with the winds, the combination of the snowfall and stormy winds, it's called a snowstorm. And when it becomes really severe, it's called a blizzard. By the way, this word can also mean an overwhelming amount of things. For example, now that the electoral campaigns are going online, we might see a blizzard of political ads. Now that the electoral campaigns are going online, we might see a blizzard of political ads. But sometimes it's not just the wind, but frozen pellets fall from the sky. It's usually water in the clouds that gets frozen and falls down from its own weight. It usually happens in the rainy season, but even in that time, it's terribly cold. This kind of shower or this kind of rain with frozen pellets falling from the sky is called hail, and the frozen pellets are called hailstones. And for some reason, if it is combined with cold strong winds, well, there you go, you have a hailstorm. Now this process actually does have a name. It's called precipitation, and I'm sure you already know this word from your chemistry lessons. Whatever it is, rain, hail or snow, whenever they get condensed and fall on the ground, it's a process called precipitation. Also the dew drops, the drops of water that gets condensed on cool surfaces at night, it's the same process. There are times when your hands and your legs just go numb, you can't really feel them. It's because you don't have normal blood circulation going, which is actually a result of narrowing of your arteries. But once you flex your hands and legs a little, your normal blood circulation will be back and you are good to go. But if you are under sub-zero conditions for some reason and your hands and legs go numb, you could easily have frostbites. Well, at the earliest stage, it's actually called frostnip, but it will soon turn into frostbite. It's actually a condition in which your body's tissues, the skin, it gets injured because of its exposure to extreme cold. Now, it can actually need medical attention, and it's not something that you can treat just by rewarming yourself. Okay, so now the last word about winter that I wanted you to know is winter solstice. Actually, it's not just a winter word. You can also have summer solstice, but let's see what it means. Okay, so if we talk about winter solstice, it's actually a day that marks the shortest day of the year in one hemisphere when the sun is actually at the exact opposite end, in the other hemisphere. What I mean to say is when the sun is at the northern hemisphere, then it's summer solstice in northern hemisphere and winter solstice in southern hemisphere and vice versa. You know what? I think I can do better. In December, there will be winter solstice in northern hemisphere and summer solstice in southern hemisphere. But in June, there will be summer solstice in the northern hemisphere and winter solstice in the southern hemisphere. Now, if that wasn't a tongue twister, then I don't know what that was, and I hope I made sense. I just hope I made sense. So that's it for today, guys. I hope I didn't make you even more confused, and if I did, then please go back and watch this video again, and hopefully you will understand what I meant. I hope I made sense, otherwise this video was just for nothing. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it, and if you did, then please give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel. That would mean a lot. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.